Hi, Ms. Pathlin here, and I am going to be going through the E.O.C review packet numbers 31 through 36 in this video segment. For number 31, select from each list to correctly complete the sentence. To solve the equation x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0 for x by completing the square, a student can use the equivalent equation x minus blank squared equals blank. So we need to get to this point in completing the square and fill in the blanks. I know for completing the square, my form needs to be an x squared plus bx equals c. Right now it's equal to 0, and my c value is -2, so I need to do the inverse and add 2 to both sides to bring it over to the other side of the equal sign. Rewrite it x squared minus x plus blank, put my square there for completing the square, equals 2 plus blank. Now to fill in my completing the square, I need to do b divided by 2 squared. Going back to my function, my b value is -1x, -1 is b, -1 divided by 2 squared. When you have a fraction that you're squaring, just square the numerator and then the denominator. -1 squared is +1, 2 squared is 4, so we're going to complete the square with 1/4. Now I need to combine my like terms, 2 plus 1/4. I need to make 2 into a fraction, 2 over 1, and I need to have a common denominator. So I need to make this a 4, so I need to multiply both sides by 4. 2 times 4 is 8, 1 times 4 is 4, plus 1/4. 8 plus 1 is 9, keep the same denominator, 9/4. So rewrite it, x squared minus x plus 1/4 equals 9/4. Now I need to factor this. A quick trick for factoring is you go back to b divided by 2, which in this case was -1/2. That's going to be my number I use for factoring. X minus 1/2 squared equals 9/4. Double check, -1/2 squared equals 1/4, as we got up here. And -1/2 plus -1/2 equals -1x. All right, looks like we have what is shown up here for filling in these blanks. So it's x minus 1/2 squared equals 9/4. Number 32, a ball was thrown upward into the air. The height in feet of the ball above the ground t seconds after being thrown can be determined by the expression -16t squared plus 40t plus 3. What is the meaning of 3 in the expression? C equals 3 here, and our C value is always the y-intercept or starting point. So if we go back to the description, it says the height in feet would be on the y-intercept because t seconds is always on the x-axis. So let's look at our description and see which one talks about the starting height of the ball. So A, the ball took 3 seconds to reach its maximum height. No. The ball took 3 seconds to reach the ground. No. The ball was thrown from a height of 3 feet. Now, the starting height would be where it's thrown from, so that would be the correct option. The ball reached a maximum height of 3 feet. No. Number 33. Use the information provided to answer part A and part B for question 33. The function of f is defined by f of x equals x squared minus 2x minus 24. Part A. If f of x plus 3 equals x squared plus kx minus 21, what is the value of k? So this has a translation of x plus 3. So if it's plus 3, we're moving up 3 on the y-axis. This one started at -24. -24 plus 3 is -21. So we need factors of -21 and the sum of k. It is a positive sum, so in order to multiply to equal a negative and add to equal a positive, my bigger number needs to be positive. I know that factors of negative 21 are 7 times negative 3. 7 plus negative 3 equals 4, so k equals 4. What are the zeros, or 0, of f of x plus 3? So going back up here, if I rewrite it, f of x plus 3 equals x squared plus 4x minus 21. So I already had found my factors here. Factors would be x plus 7 times x minus 3 equals 0. Then we have to set each of these binomials equal to 0. X plus 7 equals 0. If it's plus 7, we need to do the inverse, minus 7. X equals negative 7. It's option A. Then x minus 3 equals 0. Inverse of minus 3 is plus 3. X equals positive 3, which is E. Answers are A and E. Number 34. Use the information provided to answer part A and part B for question 34. The area A of a pig pen on a farm can be modeled by the equation A equals negative 2x squared plus 36x, where x is the width in feet of the pen. When the equation is graphed in a coordinate plane, the x-intercepts are 0, 0, and blank, which represent a lower bound and an upper bound for the opposite values for the blank of the pen. So for this one, I'm going to do completing the square to find my solutions, my x-intercepts. So for this, I need A to equal 1. So right now A equals negative 2, so I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. Then I get A equals x squared plus 18x. And there is no c value, so it's equal to 0. So I can just rewrite it, x squared plus 18x plus blank, because I'm going to complete the square, equals blank. Now I need to do my b divided by 2 squared. My b value is 18x. 18 divided by 2 squared. 18 divided by 2 equals 9. 9 squared equals 81. So fill in my squares. Again, factored form, you go back to this number, b divided by 2, which is 9. X plus 9 squared equals 81. Double check, 9 squared does equal 81, and 9 plus 9 equals 18. Then we have to find the square root of each side. We're left with x plus 9 equals square root of 81 is plus or minus 9. We need to set our two equations. Now, this is where I see a lot of common mistakes. A lot of people change it x plus 9, and then they make their second equation x minus 9. This needs to stay the same. So if we do the inverse, x plus 9, we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. We're going to get x equals negative 9 plus or minus 9. Now, this is always going to be negative 9. X equals negative 9 plus 9. X equals 0, which is already one of the x-intercepts they got. And then x equals negative 9 minus 9. Oh, I just realized that I made a mistake. Now, mistakes always happen, and I just caught one because I just realized it can't have a negative x-intercept for the width and negative 9 minus 9. So I just realized up here I made a mistake, and I apologize, but mistakes happen and you learn from your mistakes. Up here I did 36 divided by negative 2, and I said that was positive 18. That is negative 18. So let's go back and retract this. So if this is negative 18x, my factored form needs to be x minus 9. So the way this changes is I need to do the inverse of minus 9 here. I need to add 9 to both sides. positive 9. So 9 plus 9 equals 18. 9 minus 9 equals 0. So again, going back to factored form, it should be x minus 9 squared equals 81. Square root that. X minus 9 equals plus or minus 9. Then the inverse of x minus 9, we have to add 9 to both sides. So you want to get that x by itself before you do your two equations. Then it's x equals positive 9 plus or minus 9. So 9 plus 9 is 18. 9 minus 9 is 0. So that would be our other x-intercept, 18, 0. On the x-axis, it's giving the width. Part B, what is the width of the pig pen in feet that gives the maximum area? So the maximum is your vertex. So to find the width of the vertex, that's your x value. So I'm going to use the axis of symmetry, negative b divided by 2a, to find this value. So if my b value is negative 18, negative b would be positive 18 divided by 2 times 1. A value was 1. 18 divided by 2 equals 9. So the width of the pig pen with its maximum area would be 9 feet. Number 35. In the equation listed, A, B, C, and D are real numbers. Which of the equations could have solutions that are non-real? Select all that apply. All right, so ax squared equals b. If b is negative, then there would be no real solution. So that would be one of the options. B, ax squared plus bx equals 0. If you factor out the x and set each factor equal to 0, so if we factored out this x, we would get x equals 0 and x equals b divided by a. Since there's no square root involved, there's no possibility of a non-real 0. So that one is not an option. C, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. We would want to solve that with the quadratic formula, which is possible to result in non-real 0. So it's the whole when you have to get a square root, you could have the square root of a negative number, which would result in a non-real 0. D, ax plus b times cx plus d equals 0. This would give you two factors when solved. It would give you negative b divided by a and negative d divided by c, which are real numbers. So that was not an option. And E, a times bx plus c squared equals d. If a or d is negative, then you would have to square root. The solution would be non-real, so letter E. Number 36. Use the information provided to answer part A and part B for questions 36. Consider the function f, where f of x equals 2x squared plus 6x minus 8. What is the vertex form of f of x? So we've learned to find vertex first, finding the AOS, negative b divided by 2a. Our b value is 6, so negative 6 divided by 2, and our a value is 2. 2 times 2, negative 6 divided by 4. Simplify that, divide 2 both sides, negative 3 halves, which equals negative 1.5. Then, and that's my x value. Now I'm going to evaluate for x equals negative 1.5 into the function f of negative 1.5 equals 2 times negative 1.5 squared plus 6 times negative 1.5 minus 8. Negative 1.5 squared equals 2.25. 6 times negative 1.5 equals negative 9, and then minus 8. 2 times 2 and 25/100ths equals 4 and 5/10, minus 9, minus 8. Solve this. 4.5 minus 9 equals negative 4.5, and then minus 8 equals negative 12.5. So y equals negative 12.5. Remember, when we're doing vertex form, your number inside the parentheses is your h, your x value of your vertex, and it's always the opposite sign. So if this x was negative 1.5, we would want it to be x plus 1.5 in the parentheses. And then this is our y value, or our k value. That is negative 12.5 minus 12.5, letter D. Part B, what is the factored form of f of x? So let's go back to the function. To get in factored form, I need to get my a equal to 1. So I'm going to, because I see here they have a couple, they factored out the 2. So let's factor out the 2 and see what we get. So if I have 2x squared plus 6x minus 8, and I divide everything by 2, 2 divided by 2 leaves me with x squared plus 3x minus 4. Factored form, I need to get a factor of negative 4 that adds up to 3. And so I know that positive 4 and negative 1 would be 2 factors. So positive 4 times negative 1 equals negative 4. Positive 4 plus negative 1 equals 3. So that would leave us with option C.